Hi everyone. Imagine that you are working in a company and the company has a new product that targets the pharmacies in particular, and they ask you to deliver a list of all the pharmacies in your area with all their contacting details, so they can provide the marketing team with this data so they can work on it. So in this situation, you can, for example, get the data from variable sources. The first one, you can buy them from companies, or you can, for example, give the websites for the guide, the council guide books, and you search for the contacting details one by one. Or you can for example, direct websites to the marketing team, and they can work on them. All of these scenarios are inefficient and are wasting of money and time. Our target today is how to automatically generate this list, for example. And the first thing, for example, if I want to get the contacting data for all of pharmacies on the area surround me, which Harrow, first thing I can start by search Google pharmacies in Harrow, and I get a result. First thing is absolutely the Google Map things. I'm not going to search that because I'm gonna instead, because I don't have a time to debug it for now. I'm gonna use um, this website, and it's not important what is the website you are using. The most important thing is the data that you get, and this is the page where I have a list of all the pharmacies in Harrow with their address, website, phone number, and their name. Well, here I have the program. I have generated the program to do this. I'm not going to code it live. I'm just going to go, through the code line by line and just explain it. Let's actually try the code. I'm gonna type node and the file. You call it index.js. Wait a bit. And I get XLS file created, JSON file created, and JSON file created, whatever it is. So if I go to the directory, I got a CSV file with all the pharmacies data, and a JSON file with the same data. The most important thing is the data, the XLS data. This is my XLS data, and if I check it, I can find that I get the pharmacy name, I get its website, I got a phone number, and also I get the address, all in handy and in one click. Now, the problem here is this website is limited. For example, it only gives you 20 pharmacies, which actually I think it's all pharmacies here in Harrow. But if you are searching on a larger set of data, you can think of use the same code, only change the URL. For example, here more places. Check the URL. For example, when you go to second, third, fourth pages, there is only one thing. For example, here this number is changing in the URL, so you can automatically increase the number, increase this number, and use the code again and again. Alright, so let me just explain what is our code, what code is about. Actually, we are using the web scraping, which is a way of fetching the data from websites and then process these data and save it and then use it again. Actually, we are going to use the some packages. The first one is Cheerio and Axios. These ones are actually used to fetch the data and then select the most particular thing of this data that you want, and then we are going to use object to CSV to create the CSV files for us, and then JSON file to create the JSON, and then the FS model actually to generate the XLS files. Alright, first thing I'm gonna start by defining an empty array, which will be all our results are saved in this array. Then I'm gonna define a function. I will call it fetch data, which will use Axios that will send a GET request to the URL that I have specified, and then fetch the data from that URL, and then I'm gonna use the Cheerio function to load this data as an HTML. Well, Cheerio function is actually built on the jQuery function, uh, which will jQuery library, so I can use the jQuery syntax or the jQuery selectors. Alright, so I fetched the data, I get it as an HTML. I'm gonna start selecting and getting the data. Alright, so if I go to this website that I'm targeting and I inspect one of these things, I'm gonna see that every pharmacy actually is, um, you know, is implemented as a single article. So I'm gonna start here by selecting every article on that page, and then I'm gonna grab the ID of that article. All right, so I can select the data that's specified with this article. Then I'm gonna define an object, a single pharmacy object. I will leave it empty for now, and then I'm gonna grab the pharmacy name. I'm gonna start with jQuery selector, and then this is the sign for ID jQuery selector, and then the ID that I get it from each article. And then if I check the console, I'm gonna uh, find that the article, then there's a div with business mind row, and then um, a div with other thing, a div with other thing. So I actually, this thing is might be rendered or consumes time, but you have to do it. And I'm gonna go select one by one, div by div by div, until I reach the particular data that I'm looking for. And for example, here I'm chaining until I reach the H2 and the span which holds the pharmacy name, and I'm using the text function to grab that name, and then I'm gonna use the replace. Why I'm gonna use the replace? Because I found that when the Axios get the request and they then load the data using the Cheerio, for example, here there might be like a line breaking, which means slash n in the strings. So this might break your lines after when you save to the JSON, or in particular the Excel files. So I'm gonna use the replace to replace every slash n um, character with an empty character. Then with the contact, I'm using the same thing. I'm gonna start selecting div by div until I reach the the data that I'm looking for. And here I found that for example, the uh, the website thing is where's the website thing is contained is uh, uh, you know is about like it contains 3 or 4 a tags. So I'm gonna use for each of these tags, and then I'm gonna grab the href of those things. And same thing I found with the phone number. And the same thing happens with the with the address, because the address actually is contained different spans. The p address, they call it with different spans. So I just get only the things that I need. After we get the result, we return it to the mainstream, and we get the result as an array with different objects. Each object represent a pharmacy. Now that we have got the data, we are going to start generating the files that are we looking for. The first function is to generate a CSV file, which will be an string function that will take the data and then create a new object to CSV, which is a function that have been loading from the package, and then we'll save it to the file. I call it test.csv file. You're gonna call it whatever you want here. Just instead of JSON, let me type CSV file, and then we're gonna generate CSV and JSON. The why I'm putting this, because uh, these functions have to wait until the get result part completed. So I found that I have to generate an async function and then wait until the get result function completed, and then I'm gonna call the generate CSV1 and the generate JSON file one. The last one is to generate an Excel file, which is also gonna be a sync function, and we'll wait until the get result finish. And here there's two important parts. The first one is to stringify the JSON, the result, the JSON object that I have got, and then I have to parse it. With the encoding option. I found that if I drop this encoding part, it will be as an undefined. So this encoding part is very important, and then you define a string, you loop through the JSON string that parse it to you, and you know um, each of their data will be uh, each object should be on a single line. So after you parse the object, you put this slash n, which will move to the next line, and um, you put this slash t between the cells, each Excel cell. So when face.append file will create the data.xls file, will um, will parse those slash t and put every single one that will go actually to every single line. We'll put it in a single line on our Excel file, and then everything between the two slash t um, tags will be on on a single cell. Here, for example, here's a cell slash t will pass it as a single as a next cell slash t as a next cell, and so on and so forth. And after the finish, we're gonna call our functions, and let us try it again. And node index dot tsx, and we're gonna find, all right, the file is running. Wait, and CSV file created, JSON created, XLS created. And the only thing I want is whenever you want to use this code, you have to change the URL for the URL that are you looking for, and also you have to change the selectors, the jQuery selectors for the to be correspondent to the page that you are looking for. I'm gonna you know put a link to a GitHub repository for this code on the description, so you can use it, and don't uh, forget to just like and don't forget to give me a small thumbs up as a reward, or subscribe if you are on YouTube, or anything that can help. And thank you.